The Bronny James protection era is officially over. For nearly 2 years, the basketball world has watched the Los Angeles Lakers operate as much like a family business as a professional sports franchise. But as we move into the first weeks of 2026, the industry receipts suggest that the safety net is being pulled back, and the reality of the NBA is finally catching up to the marketing machine. We were told that Bronny was a developmental project with high-level defensive upside and an elite basketball IQ. We were told his 4-year, nearly $8 million contract was a standard investment in a young prospect with a high ceiling, but the numbers, the leaked reports from the G League, and the recent maneuvers by the Lakers front office tell a much different story. The common belief on social media is that Bronny is simply paying his dues in the G League like any other second-round pick. However, our contrarian take, backed by business and legal receipts, is that Bronny's position in the NBA is currently in a state of free fall because the leverage his father once held over the organization is evaporating as retirement looms and new superstars take center stage. In this breakdown, we are going to answer 3 critical questions. First, what does the specific structure of Bronny's contract and the new CBA Apron rules tell us about his actual trade value in 2026? Second, why are major corporate sponsors like Nike reportedly shifting their marketing strategy away from the James family dynasty in favor of younger, more productive stars? And third, what did the internal Lakers scouting reports actually say about his performance compared to the two-way players currently taking his minutes? According to a report from Lake Show Life on January 4, 2026, the Lakers are sending Bronny a message he can no longer ignore. Despite several injuries to the main roster rotation, head coach J.J. Redick has opted to play players on two-way contracts like Nick Smith Jr. over Bronny. This is a massive red flag. When a team is short on bodies and they still refuse to put their guaranteed rookie on the floor, it signals a total lack of trust in his current professional readiness. Per the official NBA G League stats from early January 2026, Bronny has been averaging just over 9 points and 4 assists per game with the South Bay Lakers. While those numbers might look acceptable on paper for a young guard, the shooting efficiency is where the industry insiders are getting worried. He is currently shooting just 31% from the field and under 30% from the three-point line. In the modern NBA, these are considered non-functional numbers for a guard who stands at 6'2" and lacks elite explosive athleticism. The expectation was a defensive stopper who could facilitate. The reality is a player who is struggling to find a rhythm even against G League competition. The most shocking reality, and the point that most fans are missing, involves the package exit strategy that has been whispered about in front offices since late 2025. Per industry insiders on January 8, 2026, there are growing rumors that Rich Powell and Klutch Sports are exploring a scenario where LeBron and Bronny are moved as a bundle before the trade deadline. LeBron James is now 41 years old and is currently managing persistent foot arthritis and right side sciatica that has kept him out of multiple back-to-back games this season. According to a December 2025 report from ESPN, the Lakers' decision to land Luka Doncic in a blockbuster trade has shifted the franchise's timeline. With Luka now serving as the primary engine of the offense, the Lakers have less incentive to cater to LeBron's personal roster preferences. If LeBron chooses to move to a team like the Golden State Warriors or the Miami Heat to chase one last ring, Bronny is almost certainly going with him as a throw-in piece to balance the optics. This isn't just about a father and son playing together anymore. It is about an exit strategy for a brand that is losing its grip on the Lakers front office as the Luka Doncic era officially begins. According to the Game Over podcast with Max Kellerman on January 7, 2026, even Rich Paul himself has admitted that the Lakers, as currently constructed, are not true contenders. When the head of the agency representing the team's biggest stars starts publicly questioning the roster ceiling, it indicates a breakdown in the relationship between the agency and the front office. Paul specifically noted that the team is constrained by contract contracts, a thinly veiled reference to the financial burden of carrying both LeBron's massive salary and Bronny's guaranteed roster spot. Per the Nike release notes from September 2025, the brand launched the Nike LeBron Next Gen Bronny colorway with high expectations. However, the market response has been lukewarm. According to retail analysts, the shoe has struggled to move units at the $170 price point, largely because Bronny lacks the on-court highlights to drive the cool factor required for a signature line. In the industry, we call this the performance trap. You can have the best marketing in the world, but if the athlete isn't producing, the consumer eventually loses interest. This is allegedly causing tension between the James camp and Nike's marketing executives, who are already pivoting towards Victor Wembanyama and Cooper Flagg for their 2026 and 2027 campaigns. Looking closer at the financial receipts, Bronny's contract is a 4-year deal worth $7.9 million. According to Sport Bible, this was a historic amount of guaranteed money for a 55th overall pick. But the second apron rules of the new CBA have changed the math for 2026. Under these rules, teams like the Lakers, who are deep into the luxury tax, face extreme penalties for every dollar they spend over the threshold. This means that Bronny's $2 million salary actually cost the Lakers closer to $7 or $8 million when tax penalties are factored in. Per the CBA tracker as of January 2026, the Lakers are currently searching for ways to duck under the second apron to regain their ability to aggregate salaries in trades. In a world where every roster spot is a multi-million-dollar strategic asset, keeping a developmental project who isn't ready for rotation minutes is a luxury the Lakers can no longer afford. In the industry term, this is called dead weight equity, and the Lakers front office is reportedly under pressure from ownership to trim the fat before the summer. The G League message is perhaps the most damning piece of evidence of this shift in priority. On January 3, 2026, after a home game against the Memphis Grizzlies, the Lakers announced that Bronny would be spending an extended development period with the South Bay Lakers. According to Apron Sports, this wasn't just for reps, it was because the coaching staff determined he was not yet ready for the physical speed of the NBA game. When you compare his production to other second-year guards who were drafted in the same range, the gap is glaring. Most second-round picks who stick in the league show massive statistical jumps in their second season. Bronny's numbers have actually regressed in shooting efficiency since his rookie year. Per the basketball reference data for the 2025-26 season, Bronny's minutes per game in the NBA have dropped to almost zero, and his per 36-minute production in the G League is lower than several undrafted free agents currently on the South Bay roster. This isn't the trajectory of an NBA rotation player. It's the trajectory of a player who is currently in the league because of his last name, and the league is starting to lose patience. Industry experts also point to the Rich Paul factor. For over a decade, Rich Paul has been the most powerful agent in the league, largely due to his ironclad relationship with LeBron. But in 2026, the league's power dynamics are shifting away from traditional agency leverage. Teams are becoming more resistant to agent-driven roster moves because the second apron penalties are too severe to ignore. According to a Sporting News report from January 8, 2026, Rich Paul has been forced to publicly defend LeBron's trade status, stating he can't be traded unless he wants to be. This defensive posture suggests that the Lakers front office is finally pushing back against the Klutch shadow. If they are willing to challenge LeBron's influence, they are certainly willing to challenge Bronny's spot on the team. The protection that came with being a Klutch Sports client is no longer an absolute shield against being cut or traded. Teammate chemistry is another factor often discussed in hushed tones by beat reporters. Per an unverified insider report from late 2025, there has been some quiet frustration within the Lakers locker room regarding the perceived favoritism shown towards Bronny during road trips and practice schedules. While the players have immense respect for LeBron's legacy, the NBA is a cutthroat business. When a player who is struggling to shoot 30% in the G League is taking up a guaranteed roster spot that could go to a veteran defender or a sharpshooter who could help Luka Doncic win now, it creates friction. This is why J.J. Redick's decision to bench Bronny in favor of Nick Smith Jr. is so significant. It shows that Redick is prioritizing his locker room and his win-loss record over the legacy needs of the James family. Redick, who was hired partly because of his relationship with LeBron, is now facing the reality of coaching a team that is built around Luka Doncic's prime years. The final reinforcement here is simple. The Bronny James experiment was a success as a marketing event, but it is currently failing as a professional career. We have seen the Nike shoes, the magazine covers, and the historic father-son moments on the court, but those are moments, not a career. As we head towards the 2026 trade deadline, the reality is that Bronny is a marginal NBA prospect on a team that is ready to move into a new era. The expectation was a dynasty that would last until LeBron was 45. The reality is a transition period that is happening much faster than anyone predicted. Bronny has the tools and the work ethic, as noted by many of his trainers, but the speed of the professional game waits for no one, not even the son of the king. The corporate interest is fading, the agency leverage is weakening, and the financial cost of his roster spot is becoming an anchor for a team trying to win a championship with Luka Doncic. His career impact at this point is tied almost entirely to LeBron's longevity and LeBron's willingness to use his remaining leverage to force a trade to a team that will take them both. If LeBron retires this summer due to his ongoing health issues, Bronny will have to earn a spot on a summer league roster or potentially head overseas to Australia or Europe to develop his game away from the crushing pressure of the NBA spotlight. The Lakers brand is already looking toward the 2027 season, and that future likely doesn't include a developmental guard who can't crack the rotation. The industry is moving on, and the receipts prove it. The era of the unlimited pass has reached its expiration date. If you want to understand the real game being played behind the scenes, from the complex agency contracts to the hidden second apron clauses that are ending careers, you need to stay ahead of the curve. This is how the business of basketball actually works in 2026. It's about leverage, it's about timing, and it's about knowing when the protection is about to run out. To see how other stars are navigating these same industry traps and how the new CBA is changing the game forever, you need to check out our Court Vision Industry Secrets playlist. We break down the contracts and the clout moves that the mainstream media won't touch. The game is changing, and we are here to show you the court from a different angle.